welcome to the Lois Perry Car 26 YouTube channel. If you enjoyed what you see here today, don't forget to like and subscribe and share, because we can't do this without your cooperation. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Brian Catt, the physicist, as the first part of a series of YouTube videos called NetZero Life of Brian. This is going to start today, and today we're going to be talking about the 97% consensus in terms of scientists supporting the net zero theories about climate change. We always have it thrown at us that whenever anyone questions climate science in terms of CO2 causing global warming, climate change, that 97% of scientists agree with this. Is this the case, or is it yet another scam? Brian, tell our viewers about your credentials. We know you're a physicist. Tell us some more.
Well, in summary, I spent the first nearly 20 years of my life working in government research, radiation physics and instrumentation, measuring stuff basically, and writing the odd paper. And I then went to work at Imperial College on a research project, which was the next part, and then decided that it would be good to be in technology business, because most of what happens in academia is just spending money doing research that may or may not be useful in the future. And I thought it would be more fun and better paid to actually go in a business where what you make has to work, and I could contribute what I knew technically, because a lot of the management doesn't have technical abilities. So that was really the motivation there. Make more money.
So you're a physicist and you're also an engineer, is that right?
And I became an electrical engineer during the research process, because it was necessary to be able to create, build, design the equipment you needed to actually do your research yourself, because it hadn't been done before, or whatever. We could apply new technology which had become available. So I've always been at the leading edge of technology, and when I worked in business, I worked in the part of business that creates the new products that people use. And CT scanner was just coming onto the market when I joined EMI, my first job. And then I worked in medical imaging, I worked in computing, worked in scientific instrument businesses.
You've worked across all of the sectors, not just in the theoretical scientific world, but in the practical and business implementation side of things as well. So what would be your full title, Mr. Catt, with all the letters after your name?
Well, I could put lots of letters, but at the top level, I'm a chartered engineer and I'm a chartered physicist, which means not only have I done the qualification, but I've spent sufficient time practicing the science and the engineering in actual jobs, and that's why you get the chartered status. And I've also got the MBA from Manchester Business School. The other thing to say is I spent the last 20 years nearly now looking into the realities of engineering, energy delivery in all its forms, electricity, mechanical, heating, and the actual climate change rhetoric which supports it. Neither of which made sense, but I found there's so many people that had done it before me. What I've really done is absorbed it all and tried to put it together and express it better in a more populist lay way, if you like.
So my question to you, Brian, is the vast majority of people, when you put to them that climate change is not caused by man, is that 97% of scientists agree that it is. But actually 97% of scientists agree that man has some impact, but not necessarily to an incredibly significant degree, if at all a significant degree. Could you explain how the 97% figure was come up with, and why it's wrong for that argument to be thrown back at you as evidence that climate change caused by man is not a real thing? It is a real thing.
So what was done, and what you said is generally correct. There are a large number of very eminent scientists who don't think that there is a significant effect from carbon dioxide. There is an effect, but it's very small, and a lot of it is fed back naturally. There's a group called Clintel, which has 1,400 scientists worldwide who are very much skeptical that there is a significant effect. What started all the 97% stuff, and I believe more than one study's been done, is this paper, which people can go and look at, by a guy called Cook et al. He was based in the Queensland University, which is the same place that's been saying the Great Barrier Reef is dying for forever, and we know it's now got more coral on it than it's ever had, 95% covered.
And there's more polar bears than ever before as well.
Exactly.
But you know,
they're activists, and when you look down the list of people who are actually involved, they're not climate scientists. They're sort of sociologists, Skeptical Science, Brisbane, School of Psychology, University of Western Australia. I mean, people who did this were trying to, as with all climate science, they weren't being objective. They were trying to make a point that they were absolutely right, and anybody who said anything else was wrong. Now, the 97% was achieved in a very simple way, and you can read this paper, find out how it worked. What they did was, anybody who, if you don't know about statistics, you probably get bored anyway, but statistics has a distribution like this, and there's most of the people in the middle, and there's some extreme bits on either side. So they took what they did was they told a computer to go and look for papers that talked about the climate, and then effectively decided themselves. The papers were not read. They just looked at the abstracts and the titles.
okay.
And Monckton can give you a lot more on this, by the way, on the details, because he's
that's Lord Monckton.
Lord Monckton, Christopher Monckton. He's actually got all the papers from Cook and went through them and saw which ones they'd actually marked, and that's important.
So why is the 97% figure? Is it because they took out?
No, I'm going to do it.
Didn't have an extreme view.
Let me say what they did. What if the distribution is like that? What they did was they said, oh well, there were people who said that it had less than 50% of the effect was whatever it was due to humans, and people who so were and another the largest body of the people they interviewed, the papers they checked, actually said they had no view either way, which meant that the science was very unsettled. These people were involved in this field but had no view. So what did they do with these majority of the population? They ditched them.
So what would be the real figure if you included the people who weren't sure or just said don't know?
Well, if you look online, you'll find various attempts at doing this, but it's sort of 8% or less than that, actually.
8% of scientists believe that human beings were causing a significant impact on the climate with CO2 emissions.
Yes, but the important thing to remember is what they did was they actually took away the people with no firm idea. All the people who thought that less than 50% of the effect was human, and then the remaining 1,000 out of the 12,000 that they'd started with, which includes all the people who thought more than 50%. So they kept the who thought it was more than 50%, but dismissed the people who were less than 50%, plus the people who were absolutely certain that humans were causing all the change, and then compared that with the other end of the extreme, which is people who thought they definitely wasn't caused by humans. So now you've got
to any degree.
So it's just a complete the comparisons they made and the way they did the statistics was a complete. It was of no merit, as we say in science. They just took away the majority of the population, especially the ones who thought that it wasn't a significant effect, and just kept in all the ones who agreed with them. I mean, this
Thank
is
you. Absolute madness. So actually, when you look at the figures properly, including all of the people who were included in the comparison survey, the figure was roughly 8%, or was it actually 8%?
It's less than 10%. It depends how you. Yeah, and if you want to find out what it's all about, then go and look for Cook et al. Quantifying the consensus on anthropogenic global warming in the scientific literature. If you just read the abstract, you can see immediately that it's biased before they start.
So there you have it, folks. 8%, not 97%. If you've enjoyed watching NetZero Life with Brian, please like and subscribe, and have a look at some of our other videos on the Lois Perry Car 26 YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much.